All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock in radio, we have an audio trick that we do that I want to tell you about. The audio trick is we pretend everything is going nicely. You know, we have this beautiful music in the background, right? Birds chirping in the background.
I know.
And then we do the sound effect of what it used to sound like when we used to have turntables at record players with the sound effect sounds like when you would push the arm of the record player across the surface of the record.
Yeah.
That horrible sound of the needle scratching the record, right? And then of course it would be all hell breaking loose. That sort of describes what happens in this next book. It is called The Shark Club. And Robin, do you remember kissing the boy of your dreams for the first time?
Oh, yes, I do.
And then after that, getting bit by a shark. Do you remember that? do you remember when that happened?
So clear.
That didn't happen to you. And Kid Taylor, my goodness, you've written a great book. And so at the end of this, we're going to give it away. Somebody's going to love this one. The cover of the book is on the streaming podcast we're doing right now. Which will be up as a recorded podcast later on. Ann Kid Taylor, good morning, Ann. How are you?
Hi, good morning. I'm very well. Thanks so much for having me this morning.
Yeah, I didn't know if Robin could relate to the second half of that question. I didn't think so, but I didn't think she ever got bit by a shark.
Not yet.
Well,
we live in Florida.
Don't hate it when that happens, right? I hate it when that happens, when you kiss the boy, a shark bite. But I love this idea of two really extraordinary things intersecting and really crashing together that creates these real forces inside of Maeve.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because that is sometimes the formula for like a movie, a great movie, or even a great song. Sometimes have things come together that you don't normally expect.
Yeah, and, my mom's a writer, and one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever heard her give when it comes to writing fiction, and this is great, she said, you take something bad and you make it worse. So I think I really did that for Maeve, and, I think the point of that, too, and when I'm reading, I want to root for my character, and I think to do that, you got to really put them through some tough stuff. And certainly Maeve has some tough stuff going on.
So this book just came out yesterday. Wow. So is it like having a baby? Is it like, giving birth to a child?
Yeah, in a way, especially in that after the book comes out, it continues to have this life out there in the world and in bookstores and with readers. At least that's what you hope for, and it's kind of this, this book that you have to tend to long after it's published. And I confess, you're right. The book came out yesterday, and I did a little cleaning up and nesting, and I don't think I did that until like the day before my son was born. And I thought, wow, I do feel like I'm getting ready for like if I don't have this closet completely organized, and this book's going to come out, and I'm not able to cope. I mean, it's a little strange and doesn't make a lot of sense, but there's definitely some parallels there between books and.
Well, let me give you another parallel. The baby is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Where do you live? Are you here in Florida?
I am. I'm on Marco Island.
Oh, Marco
we
Island.
moved here in 2010, and I have to say, moving here was. I don't think I could have written this book had I not moved here. I had an idea in my head. I was living in South Carolina, and I had this idea, and it wasn't until we moved here, and I was really captivated by the Gulf of Mexico and the kind of intimacy with the oceans and ocean life, and even the little burrowing owls that we see around the island. The natural beauty just captivated me, and I thought, well, this is my new home, but I know in my bones this is Maeve's home too. So Marco was really inspiring, and I based Maeve's Island on this area.
And plus, you had this. This was the ideal place for you to do research on maritime law, also on marine biology. I mean, gosh, your book runs the gamut between everything, and it really is a real reading book.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are so many opportunities around here for everyone, whether we're researching or writing books or whatever it is. I mean, I went over to the Rookery Bay Conservancy Center in East Naples, right over the Marco Bridge, to go on a volunteer trip to tag sharks in the 10,000 Islands. There was a wonderful group of volunteers on that boat, and that's something that anyone could do. But I really seized on it for research, too. It was personally very fulfilling, but that research component was so important to me. I don't have a science background at all. So while I think my character and I share a real love for oceans and sharks, I had a lot of work to do when it came to getting the science right. Certainly Mote Aquarium in Sarasota. I made a couple of visits there, talked to biologists, and, you mentioned the kind of laws around marine life. And I talked with a sergeant in the Marine Bureau here. So, yeah, there's a wealth of resources and information to be found, and I really seized it.
Wow, that's interesting. Now, in your bio, it says you're a memoirist. Does that mean you write other people's memoirs, or have you written your own?
Yeah, so that refers to my first book called Traveling with Pomegranates that I co-authored with my mom, Sue Monk Kidd, and your listeners might be familiar with her novels, The Secret Life of Bees, The Invention of Wings.
We've had her on. We've interviewed your mom. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! We wrote that Traveling with Pomegranates together. That is about. I had just gotten out of college, and I'm asking that big question of what am I going to do with the rest of my life? My plan had perfectly imploded when the graduate school I wanted to attend rejected me.
Oh, my.
So I was really trying to figure it out, and my mom was asking the same question about what she was going to do, but she was asking it as a 50-year-old woman who had this dream of writing fiction. So, we're asking the same question.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, and we did a lot of traveling. So we went to Greece and France, and it was the traveling together was really enriching, and the experience of collaborating as creative partners was something that I treasure. I treasure so much. Yeah.
So you kind of jumped into it after school, but your mom was 50 when she, or was she writing before that? Well, maybe I'm misunderstanding.
Well, she had written a number of nonfiction titles, but she had not written a novel until after 50.
Oh my gosh. That is really awesome. I love hearing stories like that because it gives hope for the rest of us that are old.
Absolutely.
But you have certainly a way of writing with the characters that we could have best friends in these characters. We could have characters that we have to be a little leery of. I mean, you absolutely have really captured the moment in the book.
Oh, I'm so glad. I mean, one of the things I really wanted to try to do was to make these characters feel really real and authentic. From 6-year-old Hazel, who was really inspired by my son at that age. I think that's why her voice felt so... Boy, she was really talkative on the page. I couldn't keep up with her. And Maeve has this really special relationship with her grandmother, who's 78. So I kind of run the gamut on ages there, but I wanted to show relationships with different women at different ages, and of course Maeve's romantic relationships. I wanted to portray with a lot of complexity, but yeah, it's a love story, I think, with
a human story
among many of the characters.
Yeah, we were talking this morning about just simply being interested in what we all do as humans and those kinds of stories, as opposed to explosions in the sky and things like
Yes.
that. Yeah, I would rather have a human story any day. Well, Anne, thank you for being on the show with us. If you're ever in this part of Florida, we'd love to have you in the studio.
Oh, I would love that. It would be my pleasure. It was a joy to talk to you this morning. Thanks for having me.
I found the book on Amazon, so I know it's available there. Do you want to give us a website?
Sure. It's AnnKidTaylor.com.
All right, AnnKidTaylor.com. Just put 2 D's in that kid, and you've got it. Anne, thank you for being on the show with us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. On this Wednesday, plenty of clouds, breezy, warm, humid, a couple of showers, and a heavy thunderstorm or two around that could lead to flooding. High 82 to 86. Mostly cloudy Wednesday night, still a shower and thunderstorm or two around, low 70 to 74. For Thursday, clouds and some sun and humid with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm in the area, high 82 to 86. For Friday, clouds and sun with a chance of a thunderstorm, high 84 to 88. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
It's the end of the fiscal year, and that means budget cuts and number crunching. Now's the time of the year you're evaluating your expenses, planning your budget, and finding ways to save money and increase efficiency to maximize profits. Dex Imaging understands and delivers. Call Dex Imaging today for a free document management evaluation. Cutting your office expenses is as easy